Hello everybody. In this lecture I will be discussing with you about low frequency common source. In short it is called CS MOSFET amplifier. Now let us first concentrate on the term of common source. As you have come across three different modes of operations for BJT, and that was common emitter, common base and common transistor, much in line of the same as we have seen in case of BJT, and it is for the transistor family. For FET devices also, whether it is JFET or MOSFET, there are three modes of operation possible by them, and these modes of operations are common source. In short it is called CS, which is quite similar to CE mode for BJT. That means it is quite similar to common emitter mode of operation of BJT, because source is something like emitter in case of BJT. Common drain mode, in short it is called CD. These are for FET, and all these are for BJTs. The common drain mode of operation in case of FET is something like CC for BJT. That means it is common collector mode, something like that, and common gate mode operation of FET. In short it is called CG, which is something like CB, that means common base mode for BJT. So these are the comparative studies of the three modes of operation. Now let us, for this we will be discussing about low frequency common source MOSFET amplifier. That means MOSFET will be amplifying and it will be working in the common source mode, the same as the common emitter mode of BJT, and we have considered the low frequency case. Now if we compare these different modes of operation, we will be seeing that the common source circuit is capable of voltage amplification and it has a very high input impedance. So the property of common source configuration is voltage amplification and high input impedance. High input impedance, which is quite ideal for as per our general requirement. That's why the common source mode is generally used for most cases than over common drain or common gate modes. The common drain circuit is a buffer amplifier, CC, or rather CD. CD configuration will be used as buffer mode operation, or it is called buffer amplifier. What is buffer? I have already told you in one of my last lecture. It is the transparency of a device which is offered to get the same output or the replica of the same output from the given input. So that is called the buffer operation, and that buffer operation can be observed in the common drain amplifier. And this buffer operation will establish unity voltage gain of this particular amplifier, CD type, in CD mode. Its property is unity voltage gain. That means voltage gain equal to 1. That means whatever you are giving at the input, it will be same as replicated in the output. So that is why it is called the buffer operation. Input or output are similar. And the other property is very high input impedance and low output impedance of this particular amplifier. Very high input impedance, so it is good for us, and low output impedance. So this amplifier can be used for good, very good impedance matching purpose. We can say this common drain amplifier MOSFET amplifier or JFET amplifier, and the common gate circuit or the common gate CG configuration, it has the speciality of it has some voltage gain but not so high like the previous two occasions, and it has low input impedance and excellent high frequency performance. Excellent high frequency performance. So because of that, it is more preferable for the high frequency cases, but right now we will be concentrating more on the low frequency operation. So let us start discussing about low frequency common source MOS amplifier. So let us consider, for discussion about common source MOSFET amplifier, let us consider an N-channel MOSFET of enhancement type, suppose. So let the circuit will be look like this. This is the MOSFET. A DC biasing voltage VDD is applied over here. This resistance, this is the resistance RD. This is load. This RD is considered here as the load. Rather, we can name this header like this: common source MOSFET amplifier with resistive load, because load can be any other. There may be a diode connected, that should be called diode load. Different type of loads can be connected with this MOSFET amplifier, but for the time being we are restricting our discussion to be considered as the load as resistive load. So this RD is considered as the resistive load, and the input is given at the gate terminal. This is gate, this is drain, and this is source, and this input is marked by V in, the input voltage, and also at the input side a signal source of small value, small signal written as Vi is connected to the gate terminal, and the DC biasing voltage applied at the gate terminal is denoted by VGG. So like this, and the voltage between the gate and source is, it is termed as VGS. This is VGS plus minus, and from the drain terminal the output is taken. This is VO or Vout, and between the drain and source VDS is measured. So this is the voltage between drain and source. So this is our circuit, which is useful for us to explain the operation of common source MOSFET amplifier using resistive load. So this is the circuit. So now let us first start the DC analysis of this particular circuit, because the MOSFET amplifier, the operation of MOSFET amplifier is a combination of its DC operation and AC small signal AC operation. So the combination of the two operation will provide you two type of analysis. One is DC and another is AC, and if we combine both the analysis, we should be getting the overall picture or the overall view how this common source MOSFET amplifier with resistive load will work. So now for the DC analysis, it is something, the procedure is something like as that has been adopted in case of BJT, that is to adopt the graphical method and to find the load line, to draw the load line, to understand, to ascertain the DC operating point or the Q point, and from there to obtain the DC operating condition or the Q point values. So for this we need to put first the modifications that to be done to be incorporated in this circuit. For DC analysis, you know, the small signal source should be omitted. So let us omit this source voltage Vi, which is the small signal AC source, because we are doing DC analysis. There is no role of Vi here. So at the beginning, Vi is equal to 0. So if therefore Vi is equal to 0, so in the input circuit between gate and source, you can see only VGG is applied, and this VGG will bias the gate terminal with the source terminal, and that gate and source voltage is denoted by VGS. So therefore the second condition is VGS is equal to VGG. So this is the second condition of DC analysis. The gate to source voltage will be absolutely equal to the applied DC biasing voltage between the gate and source. Now if we consider the output loop or the output circuit to get the output equation, if ID is flowing because of this plus VDD here through this load resistance RD, so we can say that if this ID is flowing through RD, it will be providing us a voltage drop IDRD, and if that voltage drop is subtracted from this VDD, we should be getting the voltage, because this VDD is this whole voltage and VDS is this much between drain and source. So if we subtract from this whole VDD the drop across this RD, we should be getting this VDS. Okay, so in the output equation should be look like VDD is equal to IDRD plus VDS. So from here if we calculate ID, therefore ID is nothing but VDD minus VDS divided by RD. So this is the output equation. So now we have two equations, one is this one, another is this one. This is from the input side and or input loop, and this is or for the input circuit, and this is for the output circuit. From here this is input equation or this is output equation. In many ways they can be named. So now if we draw the Vi characteristic curve, that is the static characteristics considering VDS across x-axis and ID across y-axis, if we consider this characteristic curve, how does it look like? Initially for small VGS the response will be in the cutoff region, and if gradually VGS is increased, then what will happen? This current ID will be increasing, so that for different value of VGS, VGS1, VGS2 and so on, VGS3, VGS4 and 5, we should be getting the family of curves. Okay, this is the Vi characteristics, and in the Vi characteristics there is a demarcation line which is called which is something like this one, which demarcates this Vi characteristics in two different regions. The left side is, you know, named as linear region or ohmic region, whatever, and the right side is saturation or active region. Active. So these are something like the different regions, and this demarcation is marked with the value. You all know it is giving us such a value, which is VDS is equal to VGS minus VTH. That means it is equal to VP, which is the pinch off voltage. So this pinch off voltage will correspond some very small value of VDS over here. So this pinch off voltage value, which is equal to, when it is equal to VDS, that means it is just the boundary of linear region of operation and saturation region of operation. That means it corresponds to the boundary of the two regions. So now we have two equations, one is this one, another is this one. So let us find from these two equations the two extremities of the load line, that means the load line which is intersecting the x-axis and y-axis, that means VDS and ID axis respectively. So for first case, let us put VDS equal to 0 in this particular equation. So put here VDS equal to 0. What does it mean? ID should come as VDD by RD. So VDD by RD. So mark this, when VDS equal to 0, suppose this point, and the value of this point is VDD by RD. Okay, this is one value, and the next value is, if we put ID equal to 0, that means to find the point on this axis, voltage axis. So if ID equal to 0, that means VDD should be equal to VDS. So suppose this is the point, and the value of this point is given by VDD, which should be equal to VDS then. So this VDD point will correspond to the cutoff region of operation, we can say, and this point, the ID equal to 0 point, will almost mark the linear region of operation, because they are the two extremities of the load line. Now if we join these two lines, we should be getting the fixed line, which is called DC load line. Okay, because we are drawing this line with the help of the value of the load, which is RD here. So RD is important to find this the position of the two extremities of this line, and the drawing of this load line is drawing of this straight line is dependent on the RD value, that is the value of the load. So it is called load line, and all conditions are used considering the DC condition only. There is no question of AC applied here now. Now if we consider from this characteristic curve and the DC load line, for any one value, suppose for VGS equal to VGS2, let us suppose this is the intersection of VGS2 characteristic curve with the load line. This point, suppose, is considered as the Q point, and this should be the DC operating condition for this particular circuit in this case. Let us suppose that, and for the Q point, corresponding to the Q point, we should be finding two values. If we draw two perpendicular on the two axes, it should be giving, on the voltage axis it is VDSQ, that is VDS with respect to Q point value, and on the current axis it should be IDQ. So the coordinate of this Q point should be VDSQ, IDQ. So this is our Q point. This is the way how to find the Q point, and this is the value of the Q point for the DC analysis of the given circuit, this one, and this is the DC analysis. Okay, so now for in this case, let us draw another characteristics, which is the transfer characteristics for this DC analysis part. The transfer characteristics is drawn between, what is the meaning of transfer? It is a quantity taken from the input in one axis and output from another axis. It is input versus output. So the quantity from input side or input circuit is taken as VGG and plotted along x-axis, and quantity from the output side or output circuit is taken and plotted along the y-axis. So here this characteristic curve will be VGG versus Vout. So this is the input voltage and this is the output voltage. So this is the transfer curve for this particular MOS circuit. Now let us find how this transfer curve will look like. Suppose this transfer curve explains the change of character when VGG is changing. Change of the character of the output of the circuit is will be found as VGG will be changing. So if you consider once again to the circuit, so this was our circuit. So if we consider at the input side, only this VGG is changing, and that is gradually increasing. First, suppose VGG is at 0. VGG equal to 0 we have considered. So let us see what it will happen. If VGG is 0, that means there is no voltage between gate and source, because we are doing the DC analysis. VI is not applied still now. We have only found the DC load line, and the DC load line will be giving us the Q point or the quiescent point. And what is the meaning of the quiescent point? It is the fixed DC operating condition in the absence of any AC signal. So that's why in the beginning we have considered this VI voltage source, small signal voltage source, as 0. We have considered over here. So in this case, to find the transfer characteristics, let us first find how the character of the curve will look like when initially VGG equal to 0. That means at the input circuit, VI was not there. Now VGG is 0. So in this loop, this VGS will be having no supply at all, neither DC nor AC. So VGS will be obviously 0. So if you know, for an N-channel enhancement MOSFET, VGS becomes 0. If you consider this characteristic curve, when VGS is almost 0, it is going down in this direction, it is going up in this direction. So if the VGS value decreases, you can see the conduction by the device decreases, and the operation will come inside the cutoff region and device will be switched off. So for an N-channel enhancement MOSFET, you know, when there is no input voltage or there is no biasing between gate and source, no channel is created for enhancement, because for enhancement mode MOSFET, you know, there is no pre-existing doped channel. The channel is naturally created by the application of external field between gate to source. But since here there is no voltage or external field between gate to source, therefore we can say there will be no channel in the device for its inherent behavior, because it is N-channel enhancement MOSFET. Naturally there will be no channel, and if no channel is formed, that means there will be no carrier conduction between source and drain, and so in the external circuit there will not be any current at all, or that means in the external output circuit there will not be any drain current rather. So this ID which is flowing from this plus VDD through this RD into the ground, this ID will be, for VGG equal to 0, this ID will also be 0 initially. And if ID is 0, you can see from this diagram that if ID is 0, that means there will be no voltage drop across this load RD. And if there is no voltage drop, so from this output equation, this ID RD will be 0, and this VDD will be something equal to VDS. So in the characteristic curve, the transfer characteristic curve, this value for VGG equal to 0, it is here, corresponds to output voltage. How much we should be finding? Output voltage, you can see from here, this output voltage is nothing but the voltage between drain and source terminal. That means that is equal to VDS. So what is VDS? If there is no drop in this across RD, whole VDD will be appearing across this drain and source terminal. So V out will be actually equal to VDD in that case. So if this is so, we can say that for VGG equal to 0, if this is the point, the value of this point should be VDD. Okay, so this is the first beginning of the transfer characteristics. Now what it will happen if we go on increasing VGG till it reaches the value VTH, that means the threshold voltage. We have seen there is no conduction by the device and drain current will still become 0. So the output, when until the time the drain current is 0, the output voltage will be equal to this VDD. So this will be a parallel curve parallel to this axis VGG voltage axis. A curve will start from here parallel to this axis till the point when the VGG equal to the threshold voltage is arrived. That means the drain to source voltage, when it is measured, this VGG is now equal to VTH. That means VGG has attained the voltage VTH, and as a result of that, the device is just on the verge of starting the conduction. So this line, suppose, marks the voltage VTH when VGG is just getting the value of threshold voltage. From there you can understand the drain current will start flowing, and once the drain current will start flowing, that means there will be potential drop across this load resistance RD will be appearing, and that potential drop, if it is subtracted from this VDD, this voltage, we should be getting this VDS voltage, and that VDS voltage is nothing but the output. So more and more VGG is increasing over and above the threshold voltage. That means more and more we are going from this point, which is VTH, this point, more and more we are increasing VGG. That means more and more how the output will look like, more and more the current will increase and this drop will increase across RD. So VDD minus this drop will be a very low quantity. So we can say this output voltage will be gradually down. I once again repeat what I have told. As the VGG is going on increased from the threshold value, the conduction by the device will start. So as a result, we should be getting more and more increase of the VGG will be providing more and more ID and more potential drop across this RD. That means this VDS or V out will be, in that case, we can write V out is VDD minus ID RD. Now more this ID will increase, this term will be greater, this term will be more. So this difference will be less. That means the output will come down. So the characteristic curve will be how much will be look like something like this. It will be coming down sharply. Okay, the slope will be very steep. Now how long it will continue? It is a question. Now you can see the curve has started from VDD, and let us once again refer to the output characteristics, that is this one. Where is the VDD? VDD is the point of intersection of load line with the voltage axis VDS or X axis. So this is the point VDD. That means to plot the transfer characteristics, the Q point will be initially set at here, at the intersection with the axis VDS. Now as VGG is increased, this VGG increase means we are just moving upwards through these values VG1, VG2, VGS1, VGS2, VGS3, VGS4. We are just increasing the VGG value, so that this VGS 1, 2, 3, 4, it is increasing something like this. So more and more it is increasing upward. The Q point starting from here, when VGG is equal to just the threshold value, it will move towards this upper side along this load line. So the Q point will move along this load line in the upper direction, and it will go on doing this till the point it reaches here at this point. It reaches at this point, and this point is nothing but on the boundary, the demarcation line between linear and saturation region. So if further VGG is increased, the Q point will be going inside the linear or ohmic region. Now you know the mode of operation or style of operation between at linear and at saturation region for a MOSFET will be different. So when it is the Q point is still inside the saturation region, the slope will be very much sharper. There will be a sharp fall of drain current ID. But when it is going inside the linear region, because at the saturation region the current will increase very quickly to become stable at some point, so therefore the fall of this output will be very sharp. It will be giving us a steep slope. But once the Q point has moved inside the linear region, crossing this last point of the saturation region, and thereafter it is going inside the linear region, immediately what will happen? The output voltage at linear region means the transistor will be, the MOSFET will start acting like a normal resistance, which is a linear element. That means for the MOSFET, the output voltage will be directly proportional to the input voltage straight away. So what does it mean? That means this sharp decrease of output will be a little bit stable. So at some area it will be little bit flatter and to be going parallel with this voltage axis. So that means if we consider some point over here, demarcation point, within this it is the saturation region transfer curve, and this is the linear region of transfer curve. The slope between the two regions are different. The slope is much more steeper in the saturation region than in the linear region, and this is the boundary of the Q point corresponding to this point, which is on this broken line. So this is the way we can explain the transfer curve of the or the transfer characteristics of this particular MOS circuit. So now, if within this saturation region, if we consider the input signal based on the position of the Q point, suppose in the saturation region, which is alternately called active region, and you all know that the active region of operation is most suitable for the amplification by the device. So if the Q point is set inside the middle of this curve, this transfer characteristics, the Q point is set just at the middle, suppose here, and keeping this point at the middle of this curve, if we consider the axis through this Q point and two axes up and down, that is one at the left side and another at the right side, and if we plot between these three axes the sinusoidal signal, if we now consider the sinusoidal signal after the Q point is fixed over here, if we apply this input now, we should be getting, if suppose this is my Vin, corresponding to that we should be getting three different values, one for the left line, left broken line, one for the right broken line. Suppose this curve has this broken line has cut these characteristics at here and at this position and at the Q point. So one perpendicular from this lower point, one perpendicular from this upper point. That means these are the three locations of the Q point, and one from the actual original location of the Q point, that means at the middle, which is here. And if we now extrapolate to the left side of the axis, we should be getting the output, because at the left side it is the output, at the bottom side it is the input. So based on this input V in, what is we have applied over here, the input voltage, the output will be some, which is a sinusoidal voltage like this V in, the output will be looked something like this. And if you compare these two, so this is the VO or V out. Now you can see, if you compare these two, the swing in the input will be much lesser than the output. So output will be having a larger swing. That means the output signal will be an amplified form of the input signal, and that's why we can say this MOSFET is working like an amplifier. And also one thing needs to be observed, the phase between the input and the output signal is 180 degree opposite. That means output is 180 degree out of phase relation between V in and V out. So this is much the same, the explanation is much the same as we have discussed about the common emitter mode of operation of transistor amplifier using BJT, that why this 180 degree phase difference is observed when for this type of amplifier working in common emitter mode or common source mode. So this is the way of how the operation is done by this particular circuit, the common source amplifier using MOSFET. And apart from these two regions, one is the saturation region of operation we have seen for amplification, because it is the active region actually, and the right side of the saturation region where this drain current is little bit stable now, and the output will be proportional to the input, directly proportional to the input, because of linear character of the MOS device in this region. So the curve is getting flatter here. And one region I have not mentioned, and that region is the region left to this vertical line equal to the voltage value V threshold, this VTH. The left region of this particular voltage VTH, the right region is saturation region and the left region is cutoff region. So in the transfer characteristics, we can see there are three regions. The MOSFET is initially there at cutoff region, working in the cutoff region till the time the threshold voltage is applied between gate and source. And once that voltage is applied, the working of this particular circuit or particular device starts within the saturation region, and in that region the transfer characteristic curve will be sharply falling with a steep slope. The slope is decreased and the curve becomes flatter in the next region when the Q point is going out of saturation region into the linear region, and that is the rightmost region of operation. So this is the best way of explaining the transfer characteristics between input and output of the common source MOSFET amplifier. If we now add all these things, that means and this if we consider this VTH, we know for the saturation mode of operation VDS must be greater than VGS minus VTH. So this is required for saturation mode. That means to get the DC analysis in proper form. Now if we apply the small signal on this particular circuit, how the time variation of the signal will be look like. Suppose this is the time axis, this x-axis it is time, and in the y-axis the voltage is plotted. If we have considered, suppose the DC operating condition or the DC biasing condition of the MOSFET, suppose it is fixed at t equal to 0 axis, that means along this time axis the DC value or the DC operating condition is selected for this MOSFET, and when over and above the VI, that means this voltage source is being applied. What does it mean? It means we are having 0 as the DC value, and over and above we have applied a sinusoidal signal like this. And it will mean that if this is so, and also one thing that our in this voltage time variation characteristics, suppose this is the level corresponds to the threshold voltage for the MOSFET, which is fixed, which is specified for a particular device. Now if we set our DC operating condition along this time axis, and over and above the voltage Vi, the input voltage, which is small signal voltage, needs to be amplified, is superimposed, then we can say the MOSFET will not conduct at all. And if the MOSFET does not conduct, there will not be any amplification, because the signal has been applied based on a DC condition which is much less than the threshold voltage. Now if we set our DC condition, DC operating condition equal to this threshold voltage, so this is the region the device is cut off, so this corresponds to the transfer characteristic curves this leftmost region, which is the cutoff region. Now at the end of this cutoff region, when the voltage VGG is applied or obtained as VTH, that minimum threshold voltage is obtained there, if the DC operating condition is equal to the threshold voltage, and over and above, if the AC signal is being applied like this, then we can say the MOSFET or the device will be just on the verge of conversion, but within that small conduction, because it is just on the verge of conduction, so conduction will not be very much good. It will be a very negligible conduction, and that conduction by the MOSFET will not be making the output perceivable in terms of its amplification of the applied signal. So we must have selected the parameters, DC operational characteristics of the MOSFET at such values that the DC operating line should be something well above the value of threshold of the particular MOS device. So suppose it is selected at this level. Now if we apply here over and above the V in, so MOSFET will understand the presence of this small signal at the input of it, and it will also feel that it is having a sufficient DC biasing condition also, which is much greater than this VTH value. So this signal in the third case will be far more perceivable than these previous two cases, and therefore this setting of DC along with this input signal will be much more preferable by the device to get the best amplification out of the out of the other two. So this is best for amplification. Okay, so these are the discussions, the preliminary discussions of common source MOSFET amplifier using resistive load. So let us move on to the AC small signal analysis. So till now we have discussed only about DC analysis. Now for AC small signal analysis part, let us first what we need to do, as we have done in case of BJT, all the DC sources. And one thing in the DC analysis I haven't mentioned, I have forgot to mention that the internal node capacitances are negligible, and hence in the DC analysis they are not considered. Okay, that means those capacitances used like the in source coupling or load coupling or bypass capacitor, something like those, and or any other internal node capacitance. So now let us move on to this AC analysis. So first we need to do the DC, all the DC sources should be made to 0. That means the DC sources present here as VGG, that is equal to 0, and VDD, that is also equal to 0. We need to make this DC biasing voltages as 0. So the modified the MOSFET diagram will be something like this. This is the MOSFET. This is the resistance RD. VDD is not there, so it is directly connected to ground. This is drain terminal, and from there the output is taken, which is V out. Okay, and then this is gate terminal and this is source terminal. The source is directly connected to ground, and at the gate terminal VGG is not there, so only, and since it is the AC small signal analysis, we have AC source applied over here, which is equal to VI, and that is directly connected to ground, as VGG is not present, VGG is 0. So this is basically the modified diagram for AC small signal analysis. Now we have in our knowledge how the AC small signal model can be, or small signal equivalent circuit can be drawn from it. So this is equivalent to the AC small signal equivalent circuit. Equivalent circuit that can be drawn. And how that can be drawn? This is something like, first let us represent the MOSFET first. So you know the MOSFET is the input side, or the input circuit is an open circuit, and between them the voltage is VGS because of the MOS capacitive action or the MOS capacitance, and this is the gate terminal, and this is the source terminal, which is common and grounded. Okay, and the output circuit is nothing but a voltage controlled current source of this diamond shape. This the value of this current source is, voltage controlled current source is GM VGS, small VGS, which is this one VGS, and GM is the transconductance. And parallel to this current source, the AC drain resistance RD, it is being connected in parallel with this source. And now, so this is the representation of MOSFET itself. Now at the input VI is connected, so at the input with gate the VI is connected to ground. So suppose this is the gate and this VI is connected with the gate, okay, in this manner, in this fashion, and it is connected to ground. Okay, and the at the output side, the output is the drain terminal is connected via this resistance RD into ground. So there is a resistance RD, which is the load connected between drain and ground. So ground is the source and drain terminal is this one. So between this is the drain line. So between the drain and the ground another resistance is connected, which is RD. Now across this RD output is measured. So between them this is V out. This is V out. So this is V out between these two terminals, this terminal and this terminal, which is grounded. So this is the AC equivalent circuit. Now let us derive the amplification factor, voltage gain, etc., the expressions from this AC equivalent circuit to complete the discussion. So to find the amount of amplification or the amplification factor out using this AC small signal equivalent circuit, let us first write at the input circuit this VI and VGS is equal. That means VGS is equal to VI. This is one equation. And in the output side there are two parallel resistances. So these two resistances will be combining to give the equivalent resistance RD, small rd is parallel with capital RD. So if we now check how much the current that is being flown through these resistances, we can see that the current of value equal to GM VGS, this much of current will be flowing in this path and say distributing in the two branches through RD in this direction and through this direction into this RD, capital RD in this direction. So it does mean that the current that is flown through capital RD is flowing from down to up, that is from the bottom node into the top node. So that means the polarity of the potential drop will be plus at the bottom and minus at the top. And but for V out the polarity should be plus at the top and minus at the bottom, because it is measured between drain and source, and drain is always at higher potential than the source because the source is grounded. So we can see from there whatever is the polarity for V out is opposite to the polarity of voltage drop across this capital RD. That means this proves that the common source MOSFET amplifier will be giving us the output amplified form of input, but it is the output will be 180 degree opposite in phase with the input. Because of this is one another explanation. So let us now find the output equation from here. So we can write V out, that is equal to Gm VGS, which is the value of the current. If we apply just simply the Ohm's law, this is the value of the current, V out, V equal to IR. So this is the value of I into how much is R? It is small rd parallel with this much, parallel with capital RD. And another thing is, now we have VGS equal to VI. So if we put this VGS equal to VI from this equation into this, we can write V out is equal to Gm VI RD parallel with capital RD. So from here, the voltage gain AV is the voltage gain of this particular common source small signal amplifier at low frequency, is given by voltage at the output divided by voltage applied at the input, V out by V in, which or V in, not, rather it is VI. We have mentioned it as VI. So V out by VI is nothing but Gm into small rd parallel with capital RD. So once you, in your numerical, once you are having the value of transconductance with you, the value of load resistance capital RD, and value of AC drain resistance, or rather the value of output conductance available with you, you can easily calculate the voltage gain from using this formula for the particular MOSFET amplifier working in common source. Now this is the magnitude of the voltage gain. So one thing we need to add with it, the phase of the parameters. That means this V out is actually having the polarity of the opposite of polarity with Gm VGS, because Gm VGS will be introducing the potential drop in opposite polarity across this load resistance RD. So this Gm VGS into this whole resistance will be giving us a polarity of voltage that is completely out of phase with the output voltage, as we have seen over here. So we should be writing V out equal to minus of Gm VGS into this RD parallel with RD. So there will be a minus sign in each. So in this final expression, this AV now can be written as, considering the magnitude as well as the phase part of the voltage, this is minus Gm whole into RD parallel with RD. Now let us find the next parameter, which is Rin, the input resistance. You can see for a MOSFET, in the last case, it is, if you can look from here, this is the input resistance, and for a MOSFET, you know, at the input there is a MOS capacitor. That means it is open circuit. It is represented as an open circuit here. If you look from this point, it will be like an open circuit, and open circuit means it is infinite resistance. So the resistance for this common source amplifier should be infinite. Okay, the input resistance, obviously Rin is the input resistance because of the open circuit between gate and source, because of the representation of MOS capacitor. So now let us find the output resistance from here. The procedure is same, using the same circuit, same equivalent circuit. The procedure is same as we have done in case of a BJT. What we need to do to find output resistance, we need to connect a voltage source at the load side. So across the load, let a voltage source of Vx is applied, which is transferring a current Ix into the circuit from the output side. And in this condition, the output resistance is given by output voltage by output current when the condition is input voltage is considered as 0. That means any source present at the input side should be nullified, should be made to 0. So that means this Vi should be 0, and if this is 0, that means Vgs should be 0. So if Vgs is 0, this Gm Vgs will always be 0. that means this current source will become non-existent, it will not exist, and between these two terminals, the drain and source, this source will be no more and it will be like an open circuit in that case. So this will be an open circuit between these 2 points. So if this is so, then so for the output resistance we can write now this Vx, what Vx by Ix is equal to, when Vi equal to 0, this is equal to small rd parallel with capital RD. So our output resistance is nothing but Rout given by small rd parallel with capital RD. Now if we draw the final equivalent circuit using Rout, Rin and AV, the final circuit will look like this. At the input circuit, Vin is applied or Vi is applied, whatever the input voltage. Ri is here, which is open circuit because of infinite resistance, is represented like an open circuit. At the output side, output circuit, the voltage source is minus AV into Vi. The voltage gain is shown like this. Rout is the resistance, and across that Vout is taken, the output voltage, and this is Rout. So the final output is taken from here. In series, Rout is shown the output resistance equal to the value RD parallel with RD, and this AVV in minus AVV in, a minus is there, minus AVV in is the voltage equal to the output voltage we have found just a little while earlier, while AV is nothing but minus GM whole into RD parallel with RD. So this AVV in is equal to Vout and with a minus sign in front. So that means this Vout voltage is equal to minus of AVV in, where V in is the input voltage, V in or Vi, whatever you can write. So this is the final equivalent circuit considering all the parameters used over here, which we have found the different expressions for Rin, Rout and AV, the voltage gain. So all this we can have for the discussion of common source MOSFET amplifier using small signal and at low frequency. Thank you.